Hi there. So today what I'm going to show you is the start of the garden. I am trying this back to Eden method, which is basically, you can look it up online at backtoedenfilm.com. I had a small test garden last year that kind of worked. I grew mainly pots like these. And what happened was they really didn't get very big because I didn't put them in the ground, although I did get some peppers and stuff like that. So this year I tore up some of my weedy grass and lawn and decided to make some prep gardens. And I'm actually using some beds here. Now, what I got going on in the beds is I followed their technique. They use newspaper, but I ran out. So one of them has newspaper, the other has this black weed barrier. So I threw it right over the grass. And then I put down about 2 inches of dirt on good soil on each bed. Now the next step is to, after the paper goes down, then the soil, then the next step is to go to wood chips, and you're going to fill that about 4 to 6 inches. I have those coming today. I just called a wood service, and I was like, it took about 4 calls, but I found one that delivers loads for free. So far this garden has cost me nothing because this was all recycled. See? I also have an interesting thing here. I have these strawberries that I put in one of these rolling garden beds. And basically, they are, say if you were on an apartment or you didn't have room. I just had some extra deck room that wasn't doing anything, and I thought, what the hell? So, although they're not cheap, I think they were like maybe 20 bucks or something. Anyway, so we'll see how this goes. I'll keep you updated. Okay, so I'm about halfway done, probably a little over now. I got the soil ready, and I'll show you what I've done here. I've got the wood chip pile in, and you can take a look here. Now, I haven't really planted much yet. I had some cabbage and a lemon tree that was already ready to go. What you basically do is dig down a hole for them, down to the soil and down to the paper. Place it, put a little soil around it, and then backfill it. But leave some room for the roots. You don't want to backfill it so the roots rot. You want to leave a little hole. You can kind of get an idea of how deep this stuff was, if you remember. And there's a plant there that I worked around. And I've kind of done this to a whole bunch of areas in the yard. I can also show you, take you over here. And so I called 4 different tree services, and I finally got one to deliver it for free. A couple of them wanted money, and I just kept calling around. Now this pile here was as big as a car, and I was using these buckets to carry it. And what you want to do is you want to try to get the small warm pieces, like you stick your hand and you can actually feel the composting and the warm stuff here. Aim for the small stuff. Try to pull the large stuff out like this. And you can always throw the large. I have so much left over that I will probably be I'm probably going to save it for next year. I'll put it in a pile, and hopefully next year I'll have some more wood chips that have been composted for a year, so it should be some pretty great stuff. Anyway, I'll let you know how the growing goes if this actually works. Okay, we're a few days into the growing, and you can take a look at the wood chips. What I did is I dug a hole through the wood chips and got to the soil underneath. Made sure I planted into the soil and then backfilled the chips around them and left a little room so it wouldn't rot the root. The ones that had the black like fabric underneath, I actually tore a hole in the fabric so it could get to the ground. Do you get an idea what they look like? Those are broccoli and cauliflower. They're just starting out. And a lemon tree and some peppers. So we'll see if this works. Something like the onions, I had to do a different approach because you have to put those about 3 inches into the soil. And I made troughs. So what I'm going to do is when the onions start sprouting, I'll backfill the chips around them. You can kind of see where I've got some plants in now. There's a blueberry bush and just some flowers. So 2 months ago, I tried this experimental chip garden. Basically just used a real thick layer of wood chips, about 6 inches. And I'll explain that earlier. Here's what I planted though, and let's see if it worked. So I have some big sunflowers, some broccoli, berries. I got some really tall sunflowers. They're like sky high. Also, I've already got some tomatoes and berries. I'll take you around. Here's my herb garden. Here I got some stevia and some thyme and mint. And here's my onion patch. Coming along awesome. Now the secret I think is to put a lot of wood chips. A lot of people mulch and only put like an inch or two. That's not enough. You gotta really go like about 6 inches, 4 to 6. Here's my broccoli patch and as well as peppers. So does it work? Absolutely. It was the easiest garden I've ever done once you get all the prep done. Talk my watering down about 95% or so. You basically only have to water it until you get the first big rain. So when you plant something, you water it, then you get a big rain, and you're done. Also, I even chipped my strawberries. Take a look. And they've grown a lot sturdier and higher than ever before. And they've just been spectacular. So, big thumbs up on the chipping. I like it a lot. Now, one of the things I noticed was during the days in Savannah, I mean, we were in a drought for basically 2 months. It only rained, I think, 4 or 5 times, and they were just light sprinkles. So during the high times of the day, what'll happen is you'll get some wilting. Now that's my broccoli, and you'll notice how wilty the leaves look. But then in a couple hours, they're just fine again as soon as the sun starts to go down. So it's really okay. So for a quick review, again, I think it was fantastic considering that I grew a real successful garden in a drought with practically no water at all. Awesome idea. I would totally use this if I lived in hot environments as well as cold, because the thick chips will keep the roots alive and warmer longer. Basically, they act like sponges, and they only hold water and release it as the plant needs it. So the plants will wilt some in the really hot heat, and then in the afternoon it catches back up because it just pulls the water out of the chips. They're just awesome. I mean, nature, yay. So besides that, it really wasn't very expensive. Most of it I got for free except the plants. And the prep setup is a lot, but as far as I almost had zero weeding or maintenance. I mean, I think I had 10 minutes of weeding the entire time. Just great. Big thumbs up, and I'm looking forward next year to expanding it and taking back a lot more weed-infested yard using this technique. As always, it's Terran Lupo. Good hunting.